All right, welcome everybody. It's what is it? Merry Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
Happy
that's what they
Thanksgiving.
say.
Happy.
It is, and so we brought our drinks together. It's a little bit early for us, but there you go, Nick. There you go.
Salud.
Well,
Cheers.
I forgot I was supposed to do this, but I found the breakfast of champions in the fridge. I don't know how long it's been there.
Rainier. What is that? A Washington State beer, right?
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just came back from Japan, and I'm into Asahi Super Dry because if you have it in a very cold beer mug, it is unbelievable. What are you drinking, Nick?
I made myself a bourbon-based old fashioned, and with Weller's. If you know what Weller's is, associated with Buffalo Trace. If you're a bourbon person, so it's a nice little cocktail.
All right.
this
well,
may have been around in the fridge for too long. I don't know.
okay. Take it easy, Brian. So we do this every Wednesday. It's a co-stream in all of our 3 channels. You can find this at Future Raza, Brian White. You got Nick Gibbs, Investing Against the Grain. And is it a celebration, guys? Are we here celebrating? We've got good news in the sense that FSE version 14.2 looks like it's really a big step change. But we also have heard that Elon said that they're only just going to double the number of cars by next month in Austin. Some people took that as a negative because if they have, let's say, 30 cars, they'll have 60 cars. Elon at one point said that we should have 500 cars in Austin, 1,000 in California. And I think I know where your mind is on this, Nick. But before we get that, Brian, what's your thinking about that news?
I'm not surprised. We heard Elon make a lot of guesses that he even himself said were on the optimistic side. He tends to be optimistic. When Ashok Elliswamy makes predictions about FSD and autonomy, I believe him because Ashok Elliswamy answers to Elon, and if his timelines are wrong, he's gotta explain himself. But Elon can say all kinds of things, and boy does he! He says a lot of things. If the impossible happens merely late, that's still fine, and I'm not heartbroken or upset. I know there are people experiencing tremendous frustration, including Joe Tegmeyer, who show me a bigger fan than Joe. I dare you. The problem he had yesterday, he tried 3 different times from 3 different locations to get a ride, could not get a ride. So it is, I feel like some of the critical steps in the robotaxi deployment are being taken out of order. But I wouldn't call it bad news.
What is the order that you think it should be?
Well, you want to have enough cars when you expand. You want to have enough cars when you expand, and then expand also not just the geography, but who is allowed to be in the pool. It's an open app now. You can just download it on Apple and summon a ride. That creates a lot of demand. You have to match supply with demand. So I think the next step was to have more cars, presumably by getting rid of the safety hitchhiker. But if you can't do that, get more safety hitchhikers. So I feel like the expansion is moving in incongruent ways.
Well, Nick, you have a fan here. Nick is whoa, Jesus. How did it appear like that? That's massive.
I love it. The bigger, the better.
How did that happen? Wait, my settings have changed here or something like that?
We can just bask in the glory of this post.
It's a little too much. It's like, boom. It's got to be smaller than that. That's
I don't know.
Ridiculous.
It can always be a little more.
Well, I think if there's something nice about me, we can make it that big.
Yeah, right? I agree.
This is crazy. Come on. How come it's so big?
That's what you're just gonna let that sit there, Brian?
Yeah, I am absolutely not touching it.
How do I fix this? Okay, well, I'm gonna fix this while we're talking. But Nick, what you're thinking about we'll talk about your options course later. But why don't you tell us what you're thinking about this question about the rollout and the stages?
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, I had a little back and forth with Emmett Peppers on this, and is that very loud?
It is very loud. What are you doing? What's happening?
Yeah.
It's construction noise.
Yeah, there's construction.
Okay.
I apologize, guys. My house is but I'll be quick. So I had a back and forth with Emmett essentially my point of view is that if this makes a lot of sense, if they double in December and that is met with unsupervised, I think it's a really big deal because you're going to have to make that jump. And the truth is, what Emmett was asking is, if you go unsupervised, can't you 10x it? It's like, well, yeah, eventually, but you don't just go from supervised to unsupervised and scale. You know, like you need to make sure that you can trust it yourself, let that sit for a little bit. But I think this next, once we go unsupervised, it's going to, that is the unlocking for scale, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So,
yeah.
I've seen a lot of people saying that, well, the fact that Tesla is unable to get rid of safety drivers. Nope. You can't safety drive from the passenger seat. That's not how it works. Those are occupants. Those are observers. They do not control the vehicle. So they are just there for the ride to see what, you can better see in person than from some cameras and sensors. I would rather Tesla take it slow and steady than try to steamroll into something and have an unfortunate mishap. That's, I think, the right approach.
It is, but he shouldn't have said 500 then, right? He should have said that.
Should have said a lot of things.
Can you remind me what he said about 500? Just so
by the end of the year, we're expecting 500 vehicles in Austin and 1,000 in California.
Wasn't that at the shareholder meeting?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many are there now?
I mean, people are guessing, and they're thinking it's maybe just 30.
I don't know the California number, but Austin is 30 or fewer.
Yeah. I think we're splitting hairs here. They're expanding. It's going. Nothing's going to really scale until they go unsupervised. And so to me, that's the main signal right now. How fast can we get to unsupervised? How long can we sit with unsupervised and let them build trust? And then you can start to scale. I think that's the only way. You can't scale with supervised drivers.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that's the case. Okay, so Nick, tell us about this course you're doing. Oh my God, I can't fix this. Nick, you're going to teach me options. Where do I send a DM?
A dungeon master.
Big. How do I change the size of this? It's crazy.
Yeah,
especially for mobile, the size is fine.
Okay.
I've never heard these words, so I don't know.
No one's ever told you the size is fine. I don't know if I. There you go.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Maybe
any of those words.
Okay, keep going. Keep talking. Sorry.
I'll be back.
Now. Yeah. That is more like it, but it's not working out. What's going on, guys? Brian, what happened to him?
He says he'll be back. The noise is too substantial. He's trying to get perhaps somewhere quieter. I'll tell you about Nick's options course. I don't know anything about Nick's options course, but that would be hilarious if I made an overly promising promise for what it is. He'll be back to tell us about it.
All right. Well, let's continue on while we're doing this. Well, what are the other good news that we heard about FSD? So 14.2 looking like it's working well. And then he's also announced that none of the automakers have reached out yet, or I mean, the ones who did, he said either they are proposing something ridiculous like, small numbers, 5 years out, incredible requirements for Tesla. And then another Tesla executive said that actually the ones who showed interest, they can't even do it. They can't even do software over the, updates, over the air updates for software. So
right.
It seems like it's nothing's happening here.
Right. If I teach you how to build a house, it does you no good if you don't own any hammers. So let's start with 14.2 because that's the bigger story, the first of the two stories. They're both big stories. On 14.2, here's the good news. It's going wide. It has gone to a lot more people a lot sooner than I expected. The regressions that I've seen, and there are often regressions, are not safety related. So that's good. I've seen a weird disconnect between mapping and navigation where it knows it's supposed to turn right, but instead it turns left and then does a funky loop around the block for no reason, that's fine. If I wasn't in the car, I wouldn't even know. Still needs to work on slowing down in school zones. I'm confident they're aware of that and working on it. But to me, the good news on 14.2 is how wide it's going and how quickly. That tells me that they have reasonable confidence in this build.
Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, one of the reasons I think that they didn't increase going back to that robotaxi in Austin, they want to test it out to see if it's working well. So did you see that they code was found in the robotaxi app that you can do now live screen sharing, and you can now give permission to Tesla to be able to go in and take a look at the in-cabin camera and to listen into the audio as well. I think those are the features that they need before they can take out the monitor, and maybe they thought, let's do that, small numbers, and then test it, and then we can expand faster.
So is it that the code exists on all our cars and it's just enabled when you're in a robotaxi? Is that
I don't know.
No, because how else would we get the code? How else would we see the code? Did someone sneak into the command port on a car and
I'll share it with you.
In a taxi ride?
This is coming from Robotaxi app decompile. This is the actual Robotaxi app that they took.
Oh, the app itself, not the vehicle software.
No.
Gotcha.
But then he said Robotaxi and the Tesla platform. So there's this live screen sharing. And code like a question like this could pop up. Would you like to share your Tesla app screen with a representative? They'll see only the app to guide you, so they can show you the app. And then there's this thing, in-cabin data sharing screen. This lets you accept the ability to give your analytics, your information to the representatives, so they can actually see in-cabin video and audio. I think these are things that a very good sign that shows you that they're headed to removing the safety monitor.
Interesting.
Sorry about that, everybody.
We see your assistant has joined you.
Yeah. Just so everyone knows what just happened, I have construction going on throughout the house right now, and the fire alarms just went off because of it. So it ran out.
Okay.
It's just for dust. But my wife's new use for the Tesla. My wife's in the garage right now, in the Tesla, cold, breastfeeding, and watching YouTube on the screen. So
quiet, climate controlled, peaceful, air filter.
Because of the air filter. Yeah.
Can't get better,
I know.
Yeah, let me just do my quick plug real quick.
Oh, so, I just had to say, my wife also locks herself in the garage with the car running, but it's not a Tesla. I don't know. I feel like she's trying to send me a message. Go ahead.
Weird smell and everything. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So on December 20th, that's a Saturday, I'm doing one more option course, crash course. It's Saturday. It'll be about 6 hours, give or take. I don't know if I'll do more after this. I'm doing this because a person called CERN and convinced me to do one more. So here I am doing one more. This is not a get rich quick. This is not financial advice. Any of that is not what this is. The intended purpose of this is to teach you how options work, teach you how to do them safely, help you understand what risk is so you actually know what you're putting on if you sell or buy options, help you understand covered calls, things of that nature. And I will share with you my strategies, what I do. And the idea is not for you to copy and paste what I do, but take anything you learn from me, take what you like, adapt it to do what you want. Maybe you're someone who just wants to sell covered calls against Tesla, but don't always want to do it. You don't know what strike to do it at, or how, or when safe or not safe, or how much risk is on the table. What's the worst case outcome? How do you manage it? Or maybe you want to be more of a trader and you want to look at anything, NVIDIA, Palantir, whatever, and trade options on that. Maybe you want to acquire shares in a company and you want to sell puts so you can get those shares at a lower cost while you're getting paid. So that's what this is intended for. It's learning. I don't do any so it will be recorded and the people who attend will be able to get a copy of that recording privately, but I don't sell videos where you can just sit there and copy it. I like to be there to make sure that you're understanding the material. It's very engaged. So it would be something like where I'd say, hey, Brian, what do you think the answer is to this? Herbert, do you agree with Brian? Sarah, who's right and why? right? So I like to have engagement from people to make sure I think that's the way you learn. So if you're interested, December 20th, again, it's a time commitment on my end and yours. So it's about 6 hours.
6 hours.
And yep.
And it's
That's
more
a
of a
lot.
workshop than a
Yeah,
lecture.
exactly.
Correct. Yeah. So I obviously I have material I talk through, but get ready to answer questions because I will call upon the crowd to make sure everyone's paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds
Oh,
good. I
and
mean,
people are asking how to sign up.
Oh, just DM me on X. If you DM me, I will send you the information. If the information, date, time, costs, all that. If that sounds good for you, all you have to do is thumbs up to me, and then I will get you the actual information for everything. But December 20th, send me a DM on X.
and then on X, you're Nick Gibbs IAG.
Correct. Yeah, you can see it right here at Nick Gibbs IAG. I probably should have put it
Nice.
at.
Yeah.
You still
You
can.
know, yeah. The thing about Tesla is the stock is so volatile, and I've learned that it's most of us are long term buy and hold, and that's what you should do. Most of us, but some people, because it's so volatile, if they do want to play a little bit on the edges, yeah, you should learn a little bit on this because it's such a different animal, the stock, right?
If
I
you
mean,
don't learn about it first, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think if you're going to do anything with options, or if you already have and you've gotten burnt, if you see options as risky and dangerous, then this is a great course for you because the idea is to demystify options. It's like anything. Walking out on the street without looking left, right, left again is dangerous. Operating a car when you've never driven is dangerous. And playing with options or anything in the stock market in general, any financial asset without actually knowing what you're doing is dangerous. And so for some reason, options seems to be that one thing. Maybe it's because it's a low bar to entry, low friction. All you need is internet. That people just go into it without actually learning. They just want to play the game right away. And so, yeah.
Yeah,
I'll leave it at
operating
that.
a car without FSD is dangerous. So let's get back to
It's
that.
extremely dangerous.
I do want to mention that, Herbert. There was
Yeah.
I got a comment today from someone on YouTube saying, I am sick of sharing the road with FSD cars. I didn't agree to this. And I'm
Really?
thinking-
Even
and I'm
today,
thinking-
they said that.
today,
Yeah.
literally today. And I'm thinking, and I responded saying, buddy, I'm tired of sharing the road with the average driver. The average driver is distracted and arrogant and impatient. I don't like sharing the road. When I see a car weaving, I look over and 99% of the time they're on their phone. They're not paying attention. I'm not on my phone. My car won't let me be on my phone while it is driving. And that's fine by me. It's so much safer. And the numbers are there. You can find the numbers. When people are on FSD, it is safer. I'm sick of meat-driven cars.
Me driving
But
cars.
can we take that to the limit, or like just let's? I wish I had that person here because here's my first question: how do you know if someone's on FSD? One. Second, why are you sick of it? Because of all the accidents you've seen? Like, explain. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. It's like, okay, you're sick of it. All right, that's fair. You can be sick of something. Why? Explain it. Please lay it out because it's not for all the accidents. You barely even know if any's on FSD. Hell, I exclusively use FSD. Me and my wife do. Every time we pass a Tesla, what are we always doing? You think they're on FSD?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're definitely not. They're definitely not. That's what it becomes. They're definitely not. So you don't even know. So it's a hot comment just to sound provocative.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was valid. That's why I asked you the question today, because it's valid 4 years ago when somebody said, "How dare you to do an experiment, letting people beta test, supervise this untested software in public roads?" That was fair comment back then, but it turned out the opposite. The data now shows that actually supervised FSC is safer than either alone, and so now it doesn't make sense for somebody to say that.
Don't be humble.
Anymore.
Don't be humble. It's over 6x safer.
Yeah.
That's over 600% more safe.
Yeah. All right. So the question for today, right, is Elon said that legacy auto are crazy, and he said that because he said, I offered you to partner with me at Legacy to this license FSD, and they're not doing it. And at one point, right, just earlier in a couple months ago, he said, well, they're not doing it because they're waiting until for sure it's here. And we're clearly at that point now. Many Tesla Qs are testing out FSD and they're realizing they're blown away. You've got analysts left, right, and center saying that Tesla solved FSD. That's the general reaction now when they're testing FSD version 14.4, specifically 14.2, I mean. Now, why? Why is Legacy Auto where they're at? And what do you guys think is going to happen? Is it a done deal? None of them will do this? Will one fall? Who will be able to match and be able to make this happen?
So I had a video this morning with a gentleman named Herbert, where we explored some of these topics. But taking it a little further, there are people had asked, well, because we discussed domestic brands, how I thought Ford would be the best choice too, but Stellantis should be the one to do it because they're the one in the most trouble. And someone said, why didn't you mention any Chinese brands? I think there's a political aspect to it. There is a national pride. They're partnering with other domestic Chinese partners. Huawei inside is already a thing, and their system is pretty darn good. It's like version 11 good, maybe even early version 12 good, but it's not neural net. It's not end-to-end neural net. They could very easily face a roadblock that's impassable. So why am I not concerned with those guys? In part because the Chinese manufacturers are not going to be competing in the US market, and the US players are unlikely to compete in the Chinese market apart from Tesla, which already is. And then in Europe, I didn't bring up any of the European brands because it's just not approved there. We may be seeing approval in the Netherlands as soon as January, is what I've read this week. So who's going to be? Somebody is going to license it. Someone is going to, because you're not going to reinvent it. You don't have the time. Kia is saying, well, we're going to go all in on this. Great. Where are you going to get the data? How are you going to train without the data? Are you going to start putting $1,000, $2,000 worth of sensors on every vehicle you have starting today so that in 5 years you can catch up? Maybe, but that seems like a very costly and complicated process, when the smarter thing would be partner. Nick?
Yeah, so I have a few thoughts on that. So Elon said publicly to all of us prior to this recent post about licensing that he'll only do it if it's for millions, right? And I think the reason for that is because if you have it for millions, then you know that this is someone who's actually just trying to license it. But if you say you want it for 5, 10, 15, 20 vehicles, it's almost like, hey, let me buy that Tesla so I can strip it down and figure out what's going on. And I think that's what kind of like the million signals, right? And so obviously there's things that Tesla could do to prevent any malpractice, if you will. But we saw what happened with DeepSeek, where they essentially distilled models from OpenAI and Meta, Meta's Llama. And there's obviously things you can do, right? So you could like have legal ramifications where you put it into contractual measures and all that, but that could have issues. You could do technical measures like a black box access only. You could do fingerprinting, watermarking. You can do encryption where you have it decrypt in runtime moments, and obviously you have usage monitoring. The problem with that is that one, detection is already difficult in general, and there's lots of covert ways to distill. You can run into jurisdiction issues where the licensing agreement, may hold true here, but what happens if I take that and I ship that vehicle and ship it off somewhere else? And then just in general, ethical regulatory issues. So I don't know. To me, I think it's best at this point for them to give up on that and not license it, just because I don't think there's going to be good intentions behind it. I get the safety part of it. It's kind of an issue, but at the same time, I don't know. I just have an issue with them stealing something. And I do think that's what would happen. I do. I don't think people want to pay Tesla in perpetuity for a software and they're going to want to try to do it on their own. And what better way to do it than, Tesla, you do all the work. And we'll license a little bit so then we can figure out what you did, or we can train a model on that model. I don't know. To me at this point, it's sketchy to license.
So I'm gonna take a different approach on this. I'll say that the reason they want $1 million is because there is going to be integration costs. There is going to be engineering resource drain, and the number of units we can divide that by needs to be high enough for this to make sense.
That's a really good point.
I don't believe.
That's really good point.
Yeah, and it is about commitment. What I had said to Herbert on our show was that if Ford came and said we want to do a partnership, but only for Lincoln, Tesla would say that's not enough units. We need Ford. We need like real numbers. Now, when you look at software, now I imagine you have a fair understanding of software. I don't believe that it's something that they could just distill and copy. I really, really, really don't. Especially
Why?
But what he was
because
saying
it's
was
that
test
complicated.
against. It's not that you copy the software, but you test against it. That's what
You
DeepSpeak
can copy it.
did to OpenAI.
Can't you do that by just buying a car and reverse engineering it? Why would you need? What advantage would they have by having the cars in house? By having the cars officially branded? I just don't think if that was easy to do, the Chinese would already have done it. And the reality is, great. So now you've got a version of 12.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how to turn it into 13 or 14?
Yeah.
And
Just-
I just don't think. Yes, please. I just don't see
yeah.
how it works.
I just want to address the one point. Like, they could just buy a car right now with FSD and do it, right? Well, they couldn't, right? Because the software package itself is encrypted, so you wouldn't even know how to get access to it. But if you partner with someone, I can't give you something that's encrypted and say, yeah, go use it. Like, obviously, I need to be able to have access to the actual software so I can put my own layers on top of it, or, I don't know what else. But the idea is you're not going to have it encrypted to another client. You have to decrypt it. So
I don't know on any of that. I will leave it to people who understand these things better, but I don't see the security concern as being.
Yeah. Where I land on this is that the cost and time for Tesla to work with a partner to implement them so that they can make cars 3 years from now, and what volume they're going to make, the amount that they can do that, they can create their own factory, creating autonomous first, cars faster, more. Why distract them at this point? Now, Elon wants to have, to spread safety as fast as possible, to have the best for the environment, to change the world better, quicker. And he wants a license, but the cost to Tesla to do this as a separate team, it's got to be significant work. And you have to have a committed partner. So I'm glad that it hasn't happened yet,
It's just not worth it. Like, for what? Like, hey, this isn't going to be real, right? Anyways, like, no one believes in this anyways, so don't worry about it. Like, they don't need it. Let's stop focusing energy on that. Let's focus energy on scaling unsupervised.
There will be a time, right? There will be a time. There's no doubt. So let's play this through, right? So you've got Legacy Auto saying, okay, it's not happening. Then you've got Tesla rolling this out as robotaxi in 5 states, 10 states, 20 states. And then there's a point in time when car sales starts being reduced. People in general don't want to buy a dumb gas car, and they want to now buy a smart car that can self-drive itself. And then they start seeing their numbers fall. It could be 5 years from now. I don't know when, but there will be a time, right? When they go, we're in trouble. And then now what?
You got to figure it out. Like, it's not like Apple licensed out their OS to Nokia or to RIM.
True. That's actually a valid point. I'll give you that one.
Yes.
On the other side here, you got Tesla basically doing their very first advertisement. So they ran their paid advertisement in X about FSD supervised. Yeah. Anybody here excited about that? No?
I didn't see it. I have premium, so.
Yeah.
Was it any good?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
I've got
Ideally, anyone who has posted about Tesla in the last 2 years, you didn't send it to them, or the ad isn't directed at them. Ideally, I don't need the ad space on my feed. I've already drank the Kool-Aid.
I don't remember what the product was, but there was something I purchased, and then for the next month, Google kept showing me ads for it. And it's like, I've already made the purchase.
Yeah.
You were just burning through those AdSense accounts, hopefully. And I talked with a friend of mine who's in marketing, who was at T-Mobile at the time, and he said, "Oh, that's not Google's problem. That's the marketing department at whatever company's saying this is the person we want, even though they've already bought."
Well, so this is all right. Not to take us on a complete tangent, but this is where when everybody talks about Meta and how do we make AI profitable or revenue generating outside of a chatbot or FSD, that's where Meta is. That's their space, right? Where, to your point, Google doesn't do that because they don't have the tools to give to that marketing team. But with what Meta is doing, who I think they're actually the #1 advertising platform now in the world, but they can sit there and say, "Hey, you've been getting this advertisement about pergolas, and you finally bought a pergola. Okay, we don't need to keep sending ads to you because we're not based off heuristics, but we're actually using our internal AI models." And so that's better direct advertisement to users, and then to stop that immediately, right? And then ideally, it's like, okay, well, you bought a pergola. Well, maybe you need some furniture under that pergola, right? Let's start sending some new ads.
Nah, just 8 more gazebos. I know what this guy likes.
Okay, let's get back to Tesla and the legacy auto. Are legacy auto crazy? Is it that they just can't do it even if they want to? It sounds like that few have reached out, and then the ones who do either can't do it, they can't even do OTA, or the ones who do, they'll only do small pilots in the future. It's odd.
Yep, their loss. I don't think they understand the tidal wave coming.
What is the tidal wave? That's what I want you guys to explain to me. How many years do you think it'll take? What will happen?
The tide waters are rising. The legacy guys have been making these insanely inefficient dyno burners at huge margins for a long time. And with the recent changes in policies in very few countries, the US being one of them, it's given them some breathing room, and they're so excited. Look, guys, the tide waters are receding. In fact, the tide has gone out farther than we've ever seen it. That means the tidal wave is coming. The tsunami is going to get you. And the tidal wave is one guy at your office will show up to work looking a little disheveled, and they go, "Oh, a rough night?" And he goes, "No, I just slept the entire drive here in the back of the car, got an extra hour over you." That's going to be a tidal shift. People will see that and say, "That's what I want." Somebody will be doing a Zoom call on the whole way to work instead of, you want me in the office? Fine, I'll be in the office. But the entire drive, both directions, is still going to be work, because after 3 years of remote work, working from home, now you want me to be in the office? Nah, I'm going to maximize my time. You're not paying me for that drive, or are you? So I think once it is real, and I don't mean real as in it exists. I think you and I would agree that today it really does exist, but real as in they know someone. It's just like how electric cars, to me, I think finally caught on once everybody knew someone who had them. Once everybody could go to the water cooler and say, "Oh, EVs, I don't know." And Dave says, "I got one. They're awesome. No, charging, not an issue. No, range, not an issue. They're fine. They're great. They're, efficient." I think that's going to be the tidal shift. Like Elon said, the killer app. Once we can.
But Brian, let's say that Tesla can make, they make 2 million cars a year. Let's say next year they make 4. Next year they make 8. Is that enough? That still buys these guys time, because once a few people find out that this can happen, they still have time before, nobody will buy their car anymore.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I see a lot of people saying, "Oh, legacy is put a nail in the coffin. They're done." They're not done. They will have time to make the transition, both to electric and to autonomous.
Really?
Absolutely. Absolutely. They've got so much money. They've got so much brand loyalty. They can make pretty terrible cars and still have loyal fans, as evidenced by the fact that they exist at all today. Some of those cars are famously bad, and their commitment to quality is non-existent.
Herbert, let me jump in. Brian, are you being tongue-in-cheek? Because if not, I highly disagree with you.
Okay. Please disagree.
So maybe I misunderstand what you're saying. So, sorry, I'm seeing comments here. If you can't DM me, just tag me in a message on X. I have it set so only people who can DM me who are verified users or subscribers, or not subscribers, but verified on X. If I can remember what you were saying, Brian.
It was that I was saying that
you said-
legacy isn't doomed because they'll have time
Yeah.
to shift. Look at their
So
profits today. I saw people
But-
saying GM would be bankrupt in 2 years. The next quarter, their profits came in sky high.
Okay, and I agree with you. As a Tesla community, hell, forget Tesla community. Nick has been wrong about this for a long time, and I have countless times now said that this is something that we need to reflect and think timelines. As a Tesla community, as an Elon, we're horrible about timelines when things are going to happen, right? We make our best valiant effort, but we're horrible about it, and we got to be honest about that. Now, what I disagree with you on, Brian, is that I don't think that they have time to do it. I don't think they're going to be able to get there because unless you're not saying this the way I think you are. One, they've had all this time to make a profitable electric vehicle. They still can't do that, let alone start outfitting the vehicles with the necessary hardware for autonomy, let alone buying all the chips needed, the data center build out for this, let alone hiring all the engineers that you need. So I don't think there's time. Like it's already over before it started. You're trying. You don't have time when you're trying to catch up to Usain Bolt, who's got a 4-lap lead on you. Like you don't have time. The only question is the water at boiling temperature yet, and the lobster is cooked. Like that's it. But it's happening.
So here's my counter to that is, it is going to, if FSD is unsupervised January 1st, that is going to be a huge thing for Tesla. It's not going to be huge for anyone else. And a lot of people it'll take them years to know it exists, let alone decide that they actually do want it.
And what I was saying is that Tesla's maxed out at 4 million cars
right.
next
And that's
year,
the thing is
and then 8 million cars the following year if they really double their factory output.
But Ford and GM, I agree that they can't solve it on their own. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, it'll be easy it is easier for the second person to solve the Rubik's Cube. And eventually people will solve it very quickly. I can imagine within 20 years, there will be high school programs where they say, oh, and also write a self-driving car algorithm. And they've got the tools handy to know how to safely write that code. We're not going to get there today, but everyone who starts later has it easier. Building the first electric car profitably was very difficult. Others were able to follow in the footsteps and do it a lot easier. The longer they wait, the easier it is, the more the supply chain's built up. And I think at that point, they wouldn't solve it themselves. They would just partner. And I don't know with whom. I know people are saying Mobileye or any of these others.
So here's the thing. Like I hear what you're saying, but if you look at the last, call it 25 years, that is not how technology plays out. Technology has either one or essentially at max 4 winners. That's it. There's no more. Whether you talk about cloud, whether you talk about phones.
If cars are technology, it's a different market segment. These are big, like how durable household goods are different
cars. It's the software that's running on the cars.
Right. But people buy them at the pace of cars. That's why there's dozens of global automakers, and all, more than 4 of them are successful. So I agree that there will be big winners and unfortunate losers, but I don't see it going as dramatically as you do.
Can I just say something else that might be a little controversial?
They're
not successful though, Brian. Toyota's successful. GM's actually not successful. Ford's actually not successful. Look at their balance sheet. Look how much debt they have.
Not all debt is created equal. A lot of that is recourse debt. A lot of that is their leasing division or their finance division.
What
I've
happens?
tried to analyze the debt before, and it's really, really complicated because everyone's is different.
And you're right. Not all debt is created equal, right? But what happens if you bought a house, right? house, good debt, right? It's good. It's your house. What happens if that year you bought that good debt? Next thing you know, it's actually 0809, and all of a sudden you're underwater. You got a problem. We're in a paradigm shift where everything's been re-rated. Same thing happened in 2022 with the private market and all the companies that want to go public but couldn't. A la Databricks, for example, right? They couldn't go public because all of a sudden everything had to get re-rated. And so I think FSD autonomy is that re-rating for all these companies where they're going to have to contend with this. Not all debts created equal. You're right. This is going to be even worse debt because now you have all these dumb vehicles, all these dumb leases on your hands when all of a sudden Tesla is rolling out at scale the promise of what Uber was supposed to be, where it was supposed to be, I can give up my car ownership because I have Uber. And so I mean, again, I know this has been like the idea for the longest time. I think 2026 is where things start to materialize in real material P&L measurable ways.
Okay. I'm not worried about it. I think those, it is entirely possible that GM could be stranded with all that basically consumer debt, more or less unsecured. I'm just saying that measuring debt, it's tricky to lump to compare, Toyota's debt or GM's debt when they've got so much of it is vehicle financing.
Okay, I've
But
got
not hard against Tesla.
I've got
It's not hard against Tesla.
two breaking news that just happened. It looks like Ford fired Jim Farley and they are hiring Nick Gibbs. And GM just fired Mary Barham. They're hiring Brian White. So, Nick, you are now the CEO of Ford Motors. You have a decision. Do you license?
I thought you were serious here.
I did. Too.
You have a decision. You have to license FSD from Tesla or some other company. But if you do, you're making Ford a brick and you're giving control away of your most important strategic value proposition to a company called Tesla or anybody you choose. Or on the other side, you decide to do it on your own, or stay your course, and you're dead either way. You're dead either way. So what is your decision, Nick? And what's your decision, Mary White?
So first of all, nice. I'm just on Amazon right now shopping for pantsuits. But my question is how long?
No. You need your leather jacket. What are you doing?
How long is my contract, Herbert? Is it 3 years?
Well, as typical for OEM legacy autos, they basically just give their CEOs 3-year contracts. So, and you get paid based on revenue of that every quarter.
During that window and not the long-term survival. So on a 3-year horizon, I will make mistakes. On a 7-year horizon, I know what I have to do. And that's go have an uncomfortable conversation with the board and say, look, are we in this to win this or not? And, unfortunately,
so what would you do? What's your decision, Brian?
Well, my decision is I would partner with Tesla because it will not doom the company. I do not share your conclusion that it's giving away the most important part of the company. I think it's making a strong strategic partnership, but then I would immediately be fired because the reason Mary hasn't been fired is she is doing what the board wants. The board is wrong.
Yeah, there could be this argument that you would wait. Yeah, I'll get to you. That you could actually license FSD from Tesla today, but then you continue working on your own version or license from somebody else 3-5 years from now.
Hey! Be quiet. Let me answer.
Jim Farley, you've been fired, Jim. Okay, Nick's in charge of Ford Motors.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so Herbert decided to try to answer the question when he wasn't asked to answer the question. So Herbert, have a seat. You're the question master, not the question answerer.
Let me take my drink here. Go ahead.
So what I would do is I would immediately, if not sooner, reach out to Tesla and tell the board that there is no if, it's when we get disrupted, and we need to reach out to Elon and Tesla, and we need to strike a deal immediately, if not sooner. We will strike a deal, but we will tell them that we want a deal in the same spirit that you have a deal with NVIDIA and that you have with Samsung and LG, meaning you make 4680 batteries, you're making your own chips, but at the same time, you still buy from NVIDIA, you still buy from Samsung, you still buy from these other companies. So what we would like to do is partner with you, but we want to be transparent with you, Tesla. We're also going to still try to work on solving this problem ourselves, right? And maybe we'll succeed, maybe we'll fail. I don't know, but we're still going to try. But at the same time, we recognize where you guys are at, what you've done, and we want to partner in the meantime, because at the end of the day, it's about saving lives. And at the end of the day, there should still be more than one U.S. company, U.S. auto manufacturer company. Then, as Ford, what I would do is I would immediately trim down all my lines to 4 or 5, the same way Tesla does. And moving forward, I would start building all of them with the requisite hardware. In other words, just cameras. And I would honestly ask Tesla if I could license their FSD computer chips or chips for their AI 5 or whatever it is at that time, while I try to make my own as well. And I would try to do all of that at the same time. I would stand up a AI team, and I would try to go at it myself. And I would give it about 2 to 3 years, and I would set a hard line on that. And if we're not making any kind of meaningful progress at the end of 2 to 3 years, then I would try to structure a 100 to 150 year contract deal with Tesla where it's affordable for us to still be profitable. And that would be my path forward.
Nice. What percentage would you negotiate with Tesla for the revenue share for the robotaxis or the, ride hail?
I don't know the answer to that. I would get everything I can.
Ride hail would be even beyond I don't think Tesla's going to give up ride hail. If you want to run it as on your own separate network, I mean, tough to say, but on FSD, what I would do as the CEO is say, look, can I have it like at cost? Because we just got to get it out there. It's for public safety. And when there's any pushback in the negotiation, I just go on the press and say, look, we're trying to do the best thing for public safety, but the greedy trillionaire wants more pesos. So I don't know. But I would say that a reasonable split would be on the hardware, 5 over cost, and on the software, on the software revenue, on the subscriptions, on the purchases, an 80-20 split with Tesla.
80 for you, 20% for Tesla. 80 for Tesla.
I'd say 80 for Tesla, 20 for, because Tesla did all the work. All you did was slap it on the car. 20%, that's the best margin you've ever gotten.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Wait, hold on real quick. I would have no problem letting Ford or GM or whoever be part of the robotaxi network. It would still have to be via Tesla. You can't make your own network, but I would allow you to let your users who are US Ford or GM to put your vehicles in the network. Yeah, but because the idea is, look, Tesla, do you really want to go and have to build out a Escalade or a Tacoma or a Tundra or I don't know, these other
Hummer.
SUVs? Yeah, you don't want to like there's vehicles that have use cases, right? There's a reason why people buy them because there's demand for them. And so as Tesla, I don't want to have to go and build all that. So tell you what, we can split the profit 55-40%, right? Ford, GM, you keep 40%, we keep 55% of the profit. You put it in the network for every mile driven, and we split it that way. Like,
And Nick gets the other 5%.
no,
he's the CEO.
55
He's the CEO, so yes.
or 45. Yeah, it's
So we got.
I'm
got
not
two
adding
new,
up to 100.
We have 2 more breaking news just now. GM
Is this
board
real?
has fired Brian White, the CEO, immediately because he proposed something that they would not do. Ford has rewarded and gave Nick Gibbs a bonus because the Ford family says, thank you, Nick. You've saved our legacy. I've been saying this for a while. I think that the only companies that could actually even think about licensing is a company that's owned by the family. Somebody who cares about their name. They want their name to last forever. And instead of death, they'd rather it to succeed in whatever form it is.
I win.
Yes. Yes.
That's all
I got an A+ and a gold star. What'd you get?
Yeah.
I got
Leather jacket and
old,
pants.
hired local
Pantsuit.
Pants.
You got. Hey, somebody did comment leather suit pants or leather jacket pantsuit. I love it.
Yeah, it could look good.
Oh.
Yeah, look good.
Yeah,
It is
classic.
true. Every time I see her with that leather jacket on, it's like she always wears a leather jacket. I always think she's trying to be the auto version of Jensen.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I feel like she walks into conferences to bad to the bone playing.
Well, okay. So, I mean, Elon has said you guys are crazy. If he was a CEO of one of these legacy auto, well, okay, that's a dumb question. He would just build it himself, and he would start from scratch, and he would figure this out.
And that's what they're doing too. When Ford started retrofitting factories, they immediately realized greenfield is the way to go. Why are we trying to? It's going to cost the same amount whether we build from scratch or not. Let's get the factory we actually want. That was something that analysts were saying, oh, the big dogs have a huge advantage. They already have the factories. They can just retrofit them. And the factories themselves, the people running them determined that that's not a good strategy. So,
Correct.
yeah, Tesla is leading the way. The new factories we're seeing, who was it? Ford that came out and said, look at this, we just invented a system. It's like we take little box segments and then we disassemble. That's unboxed. You just ripped off unboxed.
Yeah.
No, it's our thing. We made this. Hey, if you're going to copy the best.
Because what happens to legacy auto if Tesla comes out with a all-in, very low lease pricing? If they come in and say, hey, because these cars can drive themselves, we think that they're going to make us more money after they come off lease in 3 months. And that revenue, if I put it into Robotaxi, if it's available then, can let me even price my leasing price now even much more. How can Legacy transition from their current business model to one where it is a monthly fee subscription? Or is it not a big deal because they're already dealing with leasing and financing already anyways? So no issues?
If I knew how to make people subscribe or even like, I don't think I'd be in this predicament.
That's a good point. Hey, why don't you guys go like and subscribe on our pages?
Yeah, by the way, it is that time of the hour. I do the after show where I answer all the questions. If you're watching on my channel or Herbert's channel on YouTube, it should automatically redirect.
It will automatically redirect.
Yeah. And if you're watching on the replay, it won't. So just come find me. And Nick, a pleasure as always chatting with you. I will see you gents next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Thankful for you.
No, he was fired.
No, he didn't hear. Oh.
Fired from GM. Okay, so yeah, what you're thinking about what would happen, because I think that's the model that's going to happen soon, is low lease pricing. And then Tesla will disrupt Legacy Auto. And what will Legacy Auto do to respond to that?
Yeah, I don't think, I would love for this to be like movie-esque, kind of like The Big Short kind of thing, where it's like, oh man, we saw this happening, things crumbled, and it's not how I think any of this plays out. I think the proliferation of robotaxis and FSD and the demise of the legacy companies is literally like boiling a lobster. This temperature slowly creeps up until next thing you know, it's over. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's just year by year, day by day, month by month. It slowly happens until you realize, like, oh man, I'm in trouble, and it's too late at that point. And I think, maybe it's egos, maybe they are actually freaking out internally. I don't know the answer, but I think they know they're cooked. No pun intended with my lobster analogy, but I think they know they're cooked right now, and there's nothing they're going to be able to do. And I really do think Tesla...
They can just slow things down. They can slow it down by regulation, by, the European... Stellantis just appealed to the European Union to lower the CO2 requirements so that I can sell hybrids.
You can do all Washington, that you want, right?
UK just implemented a new tax for EVs.
It's still lower than what people have to pay for normal ICE vehicles. That's a UK problem because they have a huge debt issue.
That's a U problem.
No, it is. It's a UK has huge issues. I mean, like they have huge financial issues, and they are pushing. Look, you want to see why socialism doesn't work? Just look at the UK, right? They're trying to do is tax people more and more to cover their debts and their deficits. And all it does is tell people who are millionaires and billionaires, say, all right, I'll leave. Like, I don't have to stay here. That's the perks of being a millionaire, billionaire. It costs me nothing to leave. It's easy. I can leave. Now you can't tax me. Now what? Right? So that's what happens. So when you overtax, New York's going to have the same problem. It's already had the same problem. But my point is, that's not what's happening here with the UK. and that tax. But I'm telling you, it's just gonna be a slow burn, and you can try to slow things down with regulations all you want, but you're not gonna be successful. The same way, look, they tried to do the same thing with Uber and Lyft, and they wasn't successful. They tried so hard to shut that down, so hard. They try to shut Tesla down when it comes to just delivering vehicles or selling vehicles, right? There's all these states that don't allow you to have direct sales to cut. You can try all you want, but you're wasting your energy on trying to create regulations or try to stop the inevitable when it's going to happen one way or another. The flood's coming in. You can sit there and try with a towel under the door to stop the water from coming in all you want, but as that water gets higher and higher, it's over. You're a sinking ship.
Do you still think that there could be a ChatGPT moment for people realizing that Tesla's cars drive themselves? Or is it similar to what you were saying, which is it's a slow burn? More and more people will find out. It's not this one moment that everybody realizes around the world that Tesla's done it. They've created cars that drive themselves.
Well,
like somebody was saying, wasn't it you saying that when people get in a robotaxi, Brian just said this earlier, when people find out that you can actually text and drive, when somebody comes and sleeps in the car and then they tell you people at work, yeah, I just did that. And then when they're on Zoom call, could it be, it's not going to be a ChatGPT moment where it's that fast, but it could be enough, or is it going to be very just small amount of people, small people starting to really figure this out?
It'll be pocketed. So here's the difference. ChatGPT was able to have a hockey stick type adoption because everybody in the world already had a computer, a cell phone, some means to get on the internet. And once one person said something about ChatGPT, they told someone else the barrier to entry was free. It costs nothing. You just need an internet browser. That's it. So everybody already had the device or a device that could access it, and it was free, right? The lowest bar to entry possible in the world, right? Netflix has a higher bar to entry, right? Let's think about that. FSD is different. FSD has a very high bar to entry. You have to buy the vehicle, and then you have to buy FSD. Or Robotaxi also has a high barrier to entry, lower than FSD, but it's still high. You have to be in a city that has it. You have to be accepted into the program. I know now it's open wide in Austin and in California, but there's a bar to entry. And so I think it'll be a ChatGPT moment based on regions. You know, it reminds me of dating apps. Let's think about dating apps. Now, I haven't used dating apps in a long, long time, but I remember when Bumble first came out. Bumble first came, Bumble first
Tinder
came
first.
out.
Yeah, I just watched that movie.
Yeah, but all these Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, they all started in a certain area, and they were only available in that area. And in that area, they were the app. And then as they expanded in their scope, all of a sudden it became the app to use for it. And so I think FSD will be the same thing. So in Austin, it will have a ChatGPT moment in Austin for sure. Same in California. But is it going to have one in New York? If it's not in New York, no, absolutely not. It won't. But people in California or people in Austin will go to New York and be like, "Oh my God, this is so archaic."
Yeah, it's not. It's not overnight instant recognition.
It's not instant recognition, but it'll be. The answer is somewhere in the middle, right? Once they need to get to unsupervised because they can't scale without unsupervised. So right now they're not scaling, right? I mean, yes, they've expanded, but that's not scaling. You have to go unsupervised. Once they're unsupervised, that probably has a 4 to 5, 6 month gestation period, which allows enough time for Cybercab to start being built. And then you can start to hopefully scale as long as everything's going well. And from there, you can start expanding city to city, state to state. But again, that takes time. It's not this frictionless, no cost associated with mechanism like ChatGPT was. So in its own sense, it will have a ChatGPT moment, but it won't be like ChatGPT.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I agree with you. Now, let's say that there's probably going to be more than 2 million people around the world that will know that this thing Tesla can do this. And the reason I say
there's
2
already
million,
more than 2 million.
Yeah, there's 2 million cars that Tesla can make this year. Next year, maybe they'll make 3 million. The year later, they might make 5 million. But do you think that if you, John Doe, find out that Teslas can actually drive themselves, and then you're going to go, oh, how do I get a Tesla? but they only make 3 million a year. So first, is Tesla going to continue selling the car at the same price? Are they going to lower the price? Or is a used car Tesla going to go up in price? Because if I can't buy a new one because it's all sold, Tesla has a maximum of how many they can make. And then, but the number of people who understand and know that Teslas can drive themselves would probably be not ChatGPT level, but more than 2 million next year. What will happen?
So I think the answer is yes to all of the above. So I do think that if Tesla gets to a point where it's scaling, there will be people who are entrepreneurs. There will be Uber drivers who sit there and say, you mean I could just manage 4 vehicles and never have to drive? I can just monitor it from my living room and that's it. And they can go out and work for me. All right, I'll buy these used Teslas or I'll buy these off lease. So I think there'll be a lot of demand once it goes unsupervised in given pockets, right? And everything else you said, I think that'll happen. But what will also happen is that will drive, it's like housing. When housing gets really expensive, what happens to people? What do? They start renting more, right? Rather than buying. And so I think the renting would be equivalent to using robotaxis instead of buying a vehicle. And I think that's what will happen. You'll just drive more people towards renting or using robotaxis. But I also think that Tesla is going to scale immensely. I think they will be able to keep up with a lot of the demand, especially as they go from city to city. You know, I don't think they're going to run into too big of an issue because, again, if you're only in Miami, Orlando, Tampa Bay, San Francisco, Austin, Atlanta, whatever, if you're only in those cities, then okay, I don't think that there's going to be a huge problem with the price of a Tesla out in Boise. You know, like that. I think there might be less vehicles out there on the market, on the used market, because ideally, if you're going to start kind of your own entrepreneur business, you're going to want to buy year-old vehicles, right? That makes sense. You still have a lot of life in them, hardware for everything you need, but you're not going to be buying net new vehicles, probably. So you could easily see a world, I think, where the used vehicles cost more than brand new vehicles.
That's what I'm thinking too. And I think that they'll raise the prices. But where are you on whether Tesla will continue selling cars to people? I don't know.
I think they will.
The vast majority of people will say, yes, they will still sell a car to people. And like, why would you sell a car and make $7,500 if you keep the price the same? Or make $30,000 a year if you turn into a robotaxi? Assuming that there's, you know, at some point you can put every car you make into a robotaxi scenario, why wouldn't you just go do that? I don't understand. I think what they will do is they will lease it. They'll lease it to people so that those people can still own it and still buy and still use it until it's off lease. Then they'll put it into robotaxi, but they won't do this, you know, straight out buy it at this price, or that price will just skyrocket.
I think, or maybe part of the lease agreement is that you put it into the network this amount of times a month for these hours. That could be something too. But I think the reason why they'll continue to sell is because I think it makes more business sense for me, Herbert, to sell you the vehicle. So you assume all the costs for that. I get my margin for that. And then I give you a cut when you decide to put it into the network. Because in my mind, odds are you will put it into the network because very few people will just leave money just sitting there. Now, that doesn't mean, if I'm being fair, I'm one of those people that probably wouldn't do it.
Really?
You know,
I would do it.
I got my vehicle right now, and this is by my plan all along, in case people don't know. I have a hardware 4 Model Y right now, Model Y Performance. And my plan is, and I bought FSD on it, my plan is that would go into the network, but that would only really be used for the network. Now, yeah, occasionally maybe I'll use it, whatever.
Yeah.
But my idea is from there, either I buy a Model X or a Cybertruck.
That you own. Yeah.
And that's mine. I don't put that out in the network. Okay. That's mine. You know? Fair.
Yeah.
So
owning one and then putting the other, that's exactly. I thought maybe you said you will never put any of your cars into
it. But then guess what? When a couple years go by and I want to buy a new Tesla, guess what goes into the network?
Yeah,
The one
I
just
bet
was
at
using.
that point, though, I'm telling you that we will all be switched to a subscription model where you'll decide that it doesn't make sense anymore to buy a product. Instead, just be part of the Tesla subscription and get to choose which model you want per week. And you can have it available and you can have it stay overnight if you want at your house for multiple nights, all the nights if you want. But it's basically a subscription now at this point instead of like pure ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh. All right. Maybe I might have to
don't
have
know
you
what
fired again as a CEO of Ford.
There's some trash person in the comments right now.
Yeah, it's I can't get rid of it because it's your channel, dude. So
My channel?
I think so. Or Brian's.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Oh,
Nick,
my bad.
stick on and then you'll get transferred to Brian and he'll answer your questions. Thanks, everybody.